Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. I hope you guys had a great week. It is Friday for me today. TGI freaking F. Had a really good work week as a whole. My boss is on vacation, and if she ever sees this, don't worry. I've got nothing but love for you, but I am just... It was an easy week for me and for everybody, because y'all know how it is. When the boss is away, the mice come out to play. Okay, so what I decided to share this week with you is a more in-depth kind of look at my mushroom trips. And why I'm choosing to share this is because I think there's a lot of fear associated with what a mushroom trip is. And I think there's a lot of chatter on the internet. At least I've seen a lot of things on Instagram where it's like, oh, I was tripping balls, I saw X, Y, and Z, and all these things happen, and blah, 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 blah. But really, what I found the mushroom experience to be, and psilocybin as a whole, is something so incredibly sacred, and I don't take my experiences lightly at all whatsoever. I know that plant medicine isn't for everyone, and you don't have to engage or like or even vibe with it if that's your prerogative. But it works for me and me alone. I am not a doctor. I don't recommend doing anything without talking to someone that you trust in the medical field. But yeah, this is just my personal experience. Again, this is for me and me alone. And I'm just choosing to share this experience to help someone who's listening, who may be intrigued or have maybe dipped their toes in mushrooms but have not really gone full heroic dose, and to just kind of shed some light on what that was for my personal experience. So yeah, before the medicine, my life, like I mentioned in my last video, was comfortably chaotic. I was drinking all the time. I was a party girl. I would go out to bars late at night, have random hookups, not treating myself particularly kindly. And I was definitely lost, for lack of a better word. I think I was just lost. I was lost in kind of navigating a world that always felt kind of like hot and sticky with no real relief. And I would slap band-aids on my heart by going out and fulfilling myself and filling my cup with like friendship, but like friendship that was based on partying, and just the bar scene. You guys know how it is. If you don't, you're one lucky human being. But for those of us who have gone out and done the whole crawling into bed at 4 a.m. and feeling we're dying the next day and wasting our entire weekend on drinking, you know how it is. So I think I was in a place of spiritual disconnection too. And like I said, it was sort of like, the only way that this makes sense to me is that I had to have planned my spiritual awakening in my soul, like, path or whatever, when I was on the other side. Like I had to have chosen when I was going to do it, the divine timing, all aligns, because outside of the scope of that, I don't know why I had a spiritual awakening. I wasn't seeking God. I think that I registered that things weren't working, so I was open to different modalities. And because I thought drugs were kind of cool, not hard drugs, but like party drugs were cool, I was like, sure, shrooms, I'll get with them. Sure, like I can get down with that. So I think that's where I kind of felt like I could align with the plant medicine, and I'm an advocate for cannabis too. So I was already kind of like in that and using it medicinally, but also recreationally, because like, let's be real. And so I just was kind of at a crossroads, I think, and I just knew that whatever I was doing wasn't working, so I had to just kind of shoot my shot and trust that if it worked, cool, but if not, I'm always kind of like a glass half full person. So like if it works, cool, but if not, like hopefully it's just a cool experience. So that's kind of where I was. So basically I had the integration call with Deb, who is my counselor. I'm going to call her a counselor / facilitator. She is someone who does have a degree and background in psychology. So I really did feel supported, and that I was not just engaging in some random person off the streets in Philly. Like this is someone I was doing research, I was reading about it, and I did speak with her, and I felt like she was well versed and so educated, and I just felt very trusting of the process. So she came to me in Philadelphia. There was a sliding scale for how much it costs, and full transparency, it's not cheap. So it was like a couple grand. But don't let that discourage you, because most places have like a sliding scale and they do payment plans. I didn't pay $2,000 up front. I used a payment plan, so do not let the money discourage you. So yeah, she came to Philadelphia, and I was able to do it here in my hometown city. So I guess what I'm going to get into is the first mushroom trip. So I saw myself on this, let's backtrack, and I'm so sorry. It was very beautiful. The morning of, we get together, we do a little light yoga and stretching, we do a couple meditations. I didn't eat anything that morning. It's like about a 2-week ramp up before, so I wasn't smoking weed, I didn't drink any drinks, I was eating relatively clean the whole 2 weeks prior to meeting up with Deb. And then I also had a few integration calls with her as well. So like I said, it was very professionally done, and we set an intention. And honestly, I don't remember what my first intention was, because I think I was just going into things with an open mind. And again, I didn't have this level of respect the way that I do now. So I honestly was just kind of going in just open-minded. So I had my own mushrooms. They do not supply mushrooms. So I had these beautifully crafted dark chocolates from this girl that I buy from. And they were presented to me beautifully, and I consumed said mushrooms and I laid down. Basically, Deb had a full playlist. She set the setting and tone and vibe, and she kind of like just walked me through a place of calmness and reminded me that she was there for me the entire way, and all I had to do was surrender. The only job I had to do was just be and trust the process. So I also had an eye mask on, because the amount of mushrooms I took, I don't want to say incapacitated, but like for anyone who's ever done even a little bit of mushrooms, it's very like a dizzy, disorienting kind of sensation when you're standing up and walking around. It's kind of like a fun house effect. So the goal is to go within and not to have that like party drug atmosphere. I'm not dancing, I'm not doing anything, I am just being. So I'm lying in this beautiful, comfy, cozy setting with plush pillows, and I even brought my childhood blanket with me because I just needed something to help me feel grounded if for some reason I felt like I was lifting too high off the ground. And then in about 40 minutes to an hour, they started to kick in. And like I said, it's internal. So in my third eye, I could see a soft womb environment, and I could tell that I was inside of this womb, and I was being taught that this womb is the place where we come into the world, and that we also leave the world from this like womb-esque type environment. And it's my understanding too, as a psychic medium, is that when people cross over, quite often they're met in this dark velvety space of just like emptiness, but also all. encompassing. It's really hard to describe, but I think that that's the womb, and that's what the terminology I roll with it. So you don't have to use the words that I use, but this is just how I've made sense of it. So I'm inside of this womb environment being taught that this is where we enter the world and this is where we exit the world, the womb, and it's so sacred. And I'm being taught that there's this giant all, and that is how we refer to God. But it's not just the all. Like there's all, but there's also the universe, and there's also creator, and we are creator. So I'm being shown this brain, and the brain is zapping these lightning bolts out of it, and it's telling me that this is everyone coming out of the brain, everyone that's ever existed, anyone that's on other planets, anything that you see is being shot out of this all, this knowing. And it was also showing me that we are all connected. So we all come from this other side, this all, this generator of energy, and we are all from that. So we were all connected, and it was just showing that we chose to be here. So it's so layered and challenging to articulate what you experience, because it's kind of like I'm receiving these downloads where I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure, this makes sense, sure, absolutely, I get it. But to articulate, the visuals don't necessarily match up to what you just start to know. So it's really hard for me to put this into words. So I'm doing my best, and you can just comment if you don't get what I'm saying, and I'll try to clarify. But we're all connected, and showing them we all chose to be here. Whether we believe it or not, we all chose to partake in this human experience. And a part of that means that we have to experience all facets of being a human being. And what that means is the good and the bad, the highs and the lows, because something that is important about experience all this is duality, right? So like, if you're having a really bad day, you're also gonna have really good days. If you are really sick, you're also gonna have periods where you're really healthy. So it's just kind of experiencing all facets of life. And what I'm gonna say is probably gonna piss somebody off somewhere, but this is just, again, my experience. But like, ultimately, life and death, the way that you are brought into the world, the way you exit, it doesn't really matter. We all have a birthday and we all have a death day. And I say death, but it's really a rejoining to our true form, our highest form on the other side. So it's kind of like a vacation is what I call it. Like being alive is being on vacation, and vacation lasts for a really good long time here on earth, and we're learning things, and we're doing things, and we're experiencing new things, and we're creating, and we're experiencing all these cool stuff. But anyway, it was saying that when vacation's over, you got to go home, right? So that's exactly what it kind of is like. And we think that it's this eternal loss of something. Oh, I lost my grandma. Oh, I'm never going to see her again. But no, she was here. She's also there. And a part of us is also there as well. Again, it's like a layered cake. And that's what I was being shown. Actually, it was a cake, and it had several layers. And it was like, yes, you can try to make sense of everything, but there are certain things that like our simple minds cannot fully comprehend, because we are just this little blip of humanity when we're here on earth as creators. But like, we are so much more than that, but we are limited, and there is a veil. So then it was telling me that despite all of the highs and lows, it's important, and one of our goals here is to find the harmony and balance. So it was showing me the sun and the moon, and how they rise and fall together, and how they work together, and they create this cycle of balance, and you know, the light and the dark, and the yin and the yang. And then it was just telling me how, you know, you can have these extreme highs and extreme lows, but you have to find somewhere in your life this balance to make you even keel, to have a healthier overall earthly experience. And then the last point that it really wanted to pull forward for me was that we were given the greatest gift of all, and the most powerful gift of all, and that is the freedom of choice. And again, I don't mean to offend anyone, but you have the choice to experience happiness, and you have the choice to become a victim of your reality and experience those things, and the universe is going to support whatever you choose. So it's that law of attraction kind of a thing. Like if you choose to experience positivity, radiance, and everything like that, the universe is going to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to support you there. And it's going to pull forward things that are going to mirror that experience for you, because you're just being supported by the universe. Same goes for negative stuff. If you hate your job and you're constantly saying you're stuck, and you hate your coworkers, and you're like, oh, I'm always the last one to get picked. I'm always the person that gets stuck in traffic. I'm always this and that and the other. The universe is going to support that. And it's nothing against you. It's just like that law of attraction. So you have the freedom of choice to choose how you want to live. And I don't say that lightly. And I don't say it threateningly. It's just a matter of fact. And, oh, well, so-and-so hurt me. I'm sorry that you were hurt. But what are you going to do now that you know that you've been hurt? Do you want to heal? Or do you want to constantly circle back and cycle through your hurt? And yeah, there are certain levels of hurt, and there are certain levels of, betrayal and everything. But it's just a choice to move beyond and truly take that energy and use it for something good, or constantly cycle back and go through that same cycle of me and my sad life and things that aren't going well for me, and I can't get it right, and da-da-da-da-da-da. These are all going to be supported the way that you choose to live your life. Okay. Again, I'm sorry if that offended anybody, but that's just my truth. All right. So that was my first mushroom trip. Those are just like the major bullet points. There are other things that also I learned, but I think that it may be too much for some people to understand or hear right now. And I don't want to start off on the wrong foot. But I feel like they were more personal things for my understanding. So I'll just hold those things to myself. All right. So let's move into trip numero 2. That was most impactful. This one was actually most recently in March, and I did this one alone. I felt very confident. It had been 2 years since I had the first trip. So at this point, I felt more confident. I'd been microdosing and everything throughout my journeys, staying informed, reconnecting. Again, I had gone to Peru, did the whole ayahuasca thing, which I'll touch on another video. But my second trip was more profound for me. So basically what happened was I treated it the same as the first trip in terms of how sacred I think it is and the respect that I have for it, and did the whole fasting kind of a thing. I say fasting, it wasn't really fasting. It was dieting. I don't really do well with fasting, but it was eating clean, and not engaging in any extracurricular activities that involve cannabis, or I don't really drink anymore at all, ever really. So that was okay for me. But anyway, take the medicine. About an hour-ish passes. All of a sudden, this oracle appeared, and it was this female-male voice, and it was overlapped, and it was you are being asked to confront yourself, and all of a sudden it was boo, 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 and I had these insane downloads, and this man started rising from the ground up, and he was a Native American man, and he was showing me that he had the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he stood up, and then he stood proud, and he was but I am proud to bear this weight. This is my job, and I am honored to do it. And then it said to me, what does that mean to you? What does it mean to be proud of something? You need to reframe your definitions and how you view things and change your perspective, because there are several ways that you can define pride, right? And it was just using pride as an example, but this is just through any facets of life. Stop being so rigid before you decide something, before you commit to something. See the other perspective. And I think it's easy to say that out loud, and some of you might be oh yeah, duh. But you can say things until you're blue in the face, but it doesn't always click, or it doesn't click to a place where you're like, I get it now. I'm going to change my life because of it, right? So like you can like go through a breakup and all your friends could be like, oh, that person's terrible, but you're not going to dump the person until you're ready to dump that person. It's the same thing with this kind of information. So it was telling me, excuse me, to reframe my definitions and to really consider what, again, using pride as the example, what does pride really mean? And how can that mean different ways to me? And what does it mean to be proud of yourself? Because I always talk about how I'm proud of my growth, but what does that mean to me? So that really prompted me to kind of look at things more curiously and to reframe my thought processes and to stop committing to one definition of something. So I thought that was really cool. Then it was like, hey, you're focused too much on the future and the past and everything in between. You just need to be. So it zoomed into my mantle in my home, and it showed me one of my plants. And it was like, you think you're so separate from the plant, but you're not. You need food, you need sunlight, you need energy, but look at the plant. It thrives just receiving like basic care, and it just is. So be like the plant. Kind of like turn yourself inward and just be. Stop focusing so much on tomorrow. The plant doesn't worry about tomorrow. The plant's not sad about what they said yesterday to some guy at a checkout line. The plant just is. The plant just lives and accepts the nourishment that's given to it, and it thrives. And just for the record, my plants thrive. So I just thought that was also really interesting. And then it said you're only seeing a part of the puzzle. So it showed me a piece of the puzzle, and then it zoomed out and it showed me a full puzzle piece. And then it showed me a grain of sand, and then it zoomed out and it showed me the full beach. And it was like, you tend to only see like pieces of things, but if you really take a second and expand yourself and look around the room, you'll see that like things aren't always as you're saying or thinking that they are. Then it told me that I need to remember who I am, and it kept beating, saying, remember who you are, don't forget who you are. And that is like, it's an interesting thing for me to say, because like you think you know who you are, but you have no clue. Remember that show on MTV? You think you know me, but you have no idea. True Life with Britney Spears. But yeah, that's what it is. It's like you think you know who you are, but you really don't know who you are. And maybe you're the only person that knows who you are to the most extent, but like the more and more I unravel myself in my tight wound mind, the more I realize that I'm like, oh, I didn't know that about myself, or I didn't register that about myself. So it was just like begging me to remember who I am. And it was like, you know, you're such a powerful creator. You are God energy. You are a creator of joy and happiness and play. And you need to lean into who you are and remember how powerful a person you are. And remember that your words have power. Your actions have power. And you didn't just live this one life. Like I've had so many other lives, and it was like, you've done this before, but you've forgotten, and we're happy to remind you, but just freaking remember, you are a badass bitch. It didn't say that, but like, it was just telling me like, you know, you got to knock it off. Like, remember that you are powerful. And then it was talking a little about a sensitive topic, and I guess I can go there. So during my previous experiences in other relationships or just certain rendezvous, I always felt like I was giving a part of myself away. And I always felt like I was playing a part in the bedroom, and that I was never maybe sort of authentic to myself, but I always felt like I had to perform. And that led to sort of a trauma in me, because I just felt like I had to do something or be something in order to like receive love from someone. And so it was telling me like, you know, you think that you've given parts of yourself away, but look at yourself. You're a whole human. You're a whole human being, and you didn't give anything away. Like, look. And it was telling me, I don't want to cry, but it was telling me that I have to just remember that I'm a whole human being, and that I can reclaim my power anytime that I want. I just have to believe it. And that's truly it. Like, if you've given a part of yourself away, take that shit back. Just say it. Just say no more. And like you've heard of cord cutting and all that stuff, but it just say it. You don't have to physically cut anything. Just say it. I'm claiming my power. I'm reclaiming it. This is my power, and it's within me, and no one else can have it. And that's the truth. And then it was also telling me that, hey, let's not forget we're all connected, right? So my first trip showed me that we were connected, but this trip was like, no, honey, we are all connected. God is all. God is the rich man. God is the poor man. God is the person that you're judging. God is your neighbor. God is you. God is all of this stuff behind me. God is literally all. So the second that you're going to judge someone or say something nasty about someone, remember you're saying it about yourself, because you are that. You are that person. You just forget it. And we all separate ourselves all the time. And it's like, if we all worked together and connected and communicated clearly with each other, this world would be a different place. I know that's not the reality, because there has to be bad in order to experience the good. And that's the duality of things. And that's just earth, right? And I get it. But once you learn the game and you can play the game, your life will change. It really will. So it was telling me to embrace joy and embrace the life lessons and embrace everything, because again, I asked to experience this. And one of my pain points in life is patience, right? I have to practice patience. I'm always put in these positions where I have to be patient with work, with standing in line, with my growth, with whatever. And it was like, you know what? You asked to learn patience. So we're putting you in this position to learn patience, to stop feeling frustrated. And it was like, stop getting frustrated with yourself, with other people, and learn and practice what you've asked for. So again, I thought that was really cool. And then the last thing that it really did was shower me with a love I've never felt before. It was just like, I love you, 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 we love you, everyone loves you, all is love. Remember how much love exists, and embody love and speak with love and be love. And that was sort of like what I ended with. Now, there were things that touched about my past life, but I think it's my dogs. I think it's a little too graphic for this. I don't know the rules and regulations of YouTube, and I don't want to get kicked off yet. So I'll have to figure out a way to kind of skate around certain words to allude to what went down. But again, that's another episode. So yeah, I guess what changed in me after was just my openness and understanding, and I love deeper now, and I love more honestly now. And I think the theme of love has just kind of expanded beyond anything that I could have ever imagined. And I think that it's helped me also with interpreting my downloads that I get, because the way that I receive downloads from spirit are very similar to the way that the downloads came to me from my mushroom trips. So part of me wonders if they were my guides kind of talking to me through the second mushroom trip, because it felt like very familial. And the first mushroom trip, it was intense, but it was sort of like an outline of what was to come. And like this second trip was like way more detailed. It was like I had the body of the email in my head. So that's kind of like how I interpret it, at least. So yeah, my creativity has shifted. I'm doing this now. I don't even care if it's ever going to be anything or not. I'm just trusting that somebody or some folks will find the page and it'll align with them, and they will want to grow with me, because I think that's what I'm just kind of continuing to do every day, is just trying to be a little bit better, trying to love a little bit more, And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think what I would say to someone who is curious about their own awakening path, try it. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose at this point in life, right? Like, just do it. Just jump in the pool, cannonball, and do your research. Don't be willy-nilly about it. Don't just pick any Joe Schmo. Like, really trust your intuition and trust that you are being divinely called to experiment in this fashion. I know that it's not for everyone, but for me, what this did was sort of solidify what I already believed, and just gave me the confidence to kind of be more authentic, because I think I have been hiding. And so, yeah, I think things that still linger from my experience show up daily too, which is really cool. I just am so blessed and so happy to try to make a difference as best as I can. And like, honestly, when I'm talking about making a difference, it could be holding the door open for someone and not expecting anything in return. It could be just telling my friend I like their outfit today, or, oh, you look really great today. Just telling someone something nice, or if somebody is asking for help, helping them, because they obviously need help, and that's impactful. So it doesn't have to be these major, front page events that have to cause these massive earthquake shifts, right? Tectonic plates don't need to move for you to create a positive change in your life. So do the research. Your soul will call you when it's ready to move forward with something like this. And trust yourself and give yourself credit, and no self-negative talk either, because we're all fumbling through life trying, right? We're trying. Who knows how to human? You're just kind of like born and then taught to trust what your parents tell you to do. But your parents were also born and taught to trust what their parents told them to do. So just trust yourself, trust your connection to God, trust your instincts. Your intuition will never lead you astray. Just remember that you are divinely guided. And if you're hesitant about something, that's your intuition telling you to pause, right? If you're hesitant or you're worried or concerned, that's your intuition telling you, wait, reflect, think about it. No one's going to force you to do anything you don't want to do in terms of taking mushrooms like this at this level. So just go where you feel called, and remember that you're not alone, because we've got this new community. So feel free to like and subscribe, if you will. Tell your friends. I think I have one new friend on here. Hey, Emma. Love you so much. And yeah, I'm excited to continue to share more and more every week. So thanks again, and I will talk to you all next week.